Stuart, I have this vague memory of asking questions before class started. Is that an appropriate time to ask questions?
I think it's better after the class is over. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate or not appropriate. It's just, I think, a better time now, once the class is finished. The air is clearer, people are calmer, and I think the answers will go much deeper after the class is over. Does anyone else have a question? Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I really am of the belief that every day should be Thanksgiving. That every day of our lives, there's so much to be grateful for that we shouldn't have to wait, one day a year just to carve up a turkey and say thank you to God. I mean, it should be every single day of our lives. And I think this is part of the education here, that we don't forget during the day, that we don't forget that we have so much to be thankful for, so much to be grateful for, and build a system inside that doesn't allow our mind and our emotions and all of the nonsense that has happened to us to interfere with that kind of gratitude. Because that gratitude and that depth of gratitude, it enables one to live here like a happy person, not like as a happy person. And as I've said a million times, happy people are really enlightened people. So the problem is we forget, we allow all of the trauma and drama of our lives to interfere with the fact that in this moment, there's so much to be grateful for. Even just being grateful that we've survived ourselves. Itself grounds for gratitude. So try it, like every day, try to not forget. Try to truly find in yourself the humility, the gratitude, the ability to say thank you to God. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, as I announced before the class, I will have a class tomorrow. It'll be the 1:00 class, which is, I think, 10 o'clock on the West Coast and 2:00 in Brazil. I mean, anyway, this class is on 4 continents. And there will be a class 1:00 my time. If you would like to come, and most of you are not on the mailing list for that class, just send me an email and I will send you an invitation, because I'm not going to have a class tomorrow evening. But, look, half the people here live on the West Coast, and it's in the middle of eating turkey and dinner with the family. I don't want to barge in. So I will have a class at 1:00 my time, which is 10 o'clock on the West Coast. Probably 9 o'clock in Colorado, or 11 o'clock in Colorado. I don't know, you figure it out. But it's doable and it's possible, and I'm happy to do it. And if you want to come, just drop me an email. Send me an email before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, my time. Does anyone else have a question? I would like to ask.
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob?
In your latest blog post that will be appearing this weekend, you talk about how those things, those people that irritate us is simply
I can't, Bob, you have to speak up. I can't make out what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. In your latest blog post, you talk about how those things that irritate you and the people that irritate you is a reflection of yourself. Can you talk about that?
I did yesterday. Okay, I will. Look, what you see, I've said this a billion times, what you see outside yourself is a reflection of your own inner life. The people that come into your life are attracted to us because we give off a certain kind of energy that attracts them. Please try and sit still. If we don't give off that energy, if the chakra system is highly developed, you understand, we don't attract these people that will irritate us. There'll always be, because nobody's perfect, and there's always going to be something wrong with every human being, which means we're going to attract situations that are difficult and that are irritating. Now, the whole point of developing a chakra system is that you have the strength inside yourself to transform the irritations that are inside you and the irritations that other people bring to you into your spiritual life. You can draw that energy into the chakra below the navel and turn what really bothers you and can drive you crazy into harmony, into balance, into foundation, but we build the kind of inner life that enables us to do it. And that's really such a deep and profound aspect of what Rudy taught and what I teach. Because until a person masters that, how do you attain spiritual enlightenment? And until you learn that everything you see, everything you hear, everything that exists in this world is a manifestation of God. And it's in your life for only one reason: to teach you something about yourself. Teach you something that you need to learn to grow inside yourself. So yes, we can take other people's irritation. We can take the things that bother us in the world and we can draw them into the chakra below the navel. And we have the power to transform these things. We have the power to heal ourselves, literally, of things that are irritating us, that exist inside us. And I think this is such an important element in what I teach, what Rudy taught. And it comes organically over time when you develop a chakra system that's strong enough to do what I'm talking about. And I know it's possible, not from having read about it in a book, but having done it in my life. I talked about this in the European class yesterday. Please, Elaine, try and sit still. Thank you. And look, there's an example of this that I've also mentioned many, many times, but I'll mention it again because it really is a very good example of what I'm talking about. Years ago when I was just a young student with Rudy, I'd been working really hard. And I was teaching meditation for him. I was teaching hatha yoga. I was running a business. I was going to school. It was unbelievable. I was like a freaking octopus. And juggling my life. And I finally went to Rudy one day and I said, Rudy, you bought Big Indian. You have this ashram up in the Catskill Mountains. You think I can go up there and just take a few days and chill out? And he said, Stuart, that's what it's for. whenever you want, you just go there, So I told them I'm going to go, I think it was a Thursday, and I'm going to spend the weekend there. So I took the bus up to Big Indian, and I walked up that hill to the ashram, and I went to the room, the house where where the residences were, and I found a room. And I looked out the window and packed my stuff. I looked out the window, and there was a yard there with the grass was as tall as me, and it needed to be cut. There was also a tractor there with a thing on the end of it that would cut the grass. So I said, wow, there's a great job, Stuart. You can contribute something and you can get rid of some of the attention. I'll never forget, I went down there, I got on the tractor, I started cutting the grass, and I began to feel calmer. And anyway, from the other side of the ashram, the guy who at that time was the manager of the ashram comes running, screaming at me, that I had done at least 3,000 things wrong in the first 20 minutes I'd been at Big Indian. And he was just yelling at me, angry and upset. And I got off the tractor, stopped it, I got off, and I'm standing with him like nose to nose. And I said, Stuart, this usually led to a fight in your life, screaming at somebody, punching them, fighting with them. And I said, no, you heard your teacher talk about, transforming. He went on for 10 minutes, maybe more. I did not say a word to him. I just listened to him. I listened. And when he finished, he just started crying. Put his arms around me, gave me a big hug, and said, thank you. And to me, it was just an incredible education. How not having to be combative with somebody, can listen to them, love them unconditionally, keeping my mouth shut, and not having to be right in the situation. It transformed another person's life. It changed my life. I'll never forget that as long as I live. I'll never forget the tears in that man's eyes. And when he said to me, he gave me a big hug. And he said, thank you. It was the end of the situation. I got back on the tractor. I continued to cut the grass, and avoided what could have been a terrible argument and a terrible fight in a place that was supposed to be a spiritual place. So this is how it works. You build an inner life that is strong enough, not having to be right, and giving you the power to be able to listen to another human being without having to dump your ego on them, your idea of the way they should live, and all this stuff. And and I can't tell you, after that happened to me, how many times I had done that exact same type of exercise with people that saved me so much energy and enabled me to transform whatever they were giving me into my spiritual life, into my inner life. So that's how, this is really important, because frankly, you never know what anybody's going to bring. You never know. I remember I once saw this guy, Chris Rock. He was doing one of his stand-up comedy concerts there. And I'll never forget, he said, when you meet your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, he said, you don't meet them, you meet their agent. I laughed so hard, it's so true. He said, you only find out who you're with about 3 years later. I just cracked up. I never forgot that. It was like wisdom out of the mouth of this comic, and it's true. You never know about people from day to day, and even I asked Rudy, I said, what about these, Big Indian, I know everybody claims it was a sacred place. Frankly, was like a lunatic asylum, big Indian. And the people that lived there were all, you know, I'll never forget Rudy. I was walking, we were clearing an area in a forest, dragging trees, cutting them down and dragging trees down the side of a mountain and putting them in a fire in order, because Rudy wanted to plant an apple orchard there. So we worked from like, 9:30 in the morning, we were working until noon, and then they rang the bell for coming for lunch. And we're walking there, and Rudy was complaining about the people in the ashram. And I could see it, he would go up there and he would, spend 20 minutes, a half hour before every class talking about how nobody is doing their work and everybody's full of shit and blah, 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 blah. So I said, well, Rudy, what happens to these people? And he said, Stuart, in 20 years, none of these people will be here. You will be here. You will be doing this work. And it taught me again how to let go, not allow other people's bullshit to bother me, and to be able to use it to grow in my life. I mean, it was completely amazing. Oh, how many experiences I had like that. And how many times I heard Rudy say, look, an oyster, for a pearl to give birth to an oyster, there has to be an irritation. I mean, there's no better metaphor. For us to grow, we need little irritations in us to bother us, to make us work a little deeper on ourselves. And then we produce that pearl inside of us. What's the pearl? It's that open heart, it's love, it's Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask? Okay. Again, I will have a class at 1 o'clock tomorrow. If you would like to attend and want an invite, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send you one. Hey, thank you. God bless you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful weekend. And let Thanksgiving become every day. Every day. I mean, we can honestly do that for God, to allow Thanksgiving to become every day. So bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. There will be a class on Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful for you, Stuart.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.